marketing the Ford Motor Company in Germany.
In this section, we will talk about economic environment. The German economy is the fifth largest economy in the world in terms of gross domestic product, or GDP. The GDP was 4.17 trillion in 2017. The GDP per capita was 50,200 in 2017. The unemployment rate is 4.3% and inflation, CPI, is 0.4%. Despite a favorable economic situation and low unemployment, inflation in Germany remains subdued, and there are still no signs of sustained pickup in the inflation rate. The German trade surplus increased to 23.7 billion in November 17 from 22.0 billion euros in the same month a year earlier, as exports rose by 8.2% to 116.5 billion and imports grew by 8.3% to 92.8 billion euro.
As seen from this graph, cars are the number one export in Germany, followed by motor vehicle and tractor parts.
Trade agreements are conducted at a European Union level. As an EU member state, Germany does not have an independent trade policy. The EU has specific trade policies in place for all its partners and complies with the global rules on international trade set out by the World Trade Organization. There are three types of agreements. Customs unions, which eliminate customs duties in bilateral trade and/or establish a joint customs tariff for foreign importers. Association agreements or stabilization agreements, which are deep and comprehensive free trade agreements and economic partnership agreements that remove customs tariffs in bilateral trade. Lastly, partnership and cooperation agreements, which provide a general framework for bilateral economic relations and maintain existing customs tariffs. To be able to import into Germany, one must follow the Union Customs Code. In regard to tariffs issued by the European Union and Germany, online tools such as Tariff, which is a multilingual database that integrates all measures relating to EU customs tariffs, and the electronic customs tariff, which are all available online for businesses to review classification categories and descriptions of goods. Due to economic development and favorable domestic conditions, Germany has many multinational corporations. Some of these include Daimler, Volkswagen Group, BMW Group, Siemens, Bayer, ThyssenKrupp, Lind, Google, and Amazon. Consequently, Germans take their education very seriously and have one of the uppermost expected higher level education rates at 95%. They have literacy rates of 99% and pay their teachers almost 41% compared with those in the United States.
Germany's business culture stresses high levels of planning and organization throughout all aspects. Being thorough and prepared is of the utmost importance. Punctuality is something that is taken very seriously in the German business culture, and every part of their day is planned. Being too early to a business meeting could be just as bad as being late. Either is considered to be a lack of respect and indicates a poor level of organization and planning. Germans are more comfortable when they are given all details and information and then allowed to make a decision. Due to this, they do not like being surprised by new information and are uncomfortable when rushed during their decision-making process. When talking about leisure, sports are a favorite pastime for many German people, and soccer is the dominant sport in Germany. Other favorite sports include ice hockey, basketball, motorsports, especially Formula One, handball, tennis, skiing, cycling, and boxing. Golf is on the list of popular sports in Germany, but usually only people with higher incomes tend to play. Also, golf tournaments are not shown on German TV. When it comes to their favorite color, blue is ranked number 1 in terms of interior design. Green and red were also in the top 3. However, conflicting results are seen in the automobile industry. 3/4 of new cars sold in Germany are without color, meaning white, black, or gray. Family relationships have an important place in German lives, and many consider family to be the most important social institution and influential reference group. It is still very common for large families to get together for lunch on the weekends, which is usually followed by the Germans' version of tea time. But the growing trend is that many Germans do not become parents till later in their lives than what was previously seen. Instead of starting a family, many want to finish college and start a career before becoming parents.
Germany was analyzed from a social and cultural perspective. The first step was to use Hofstede's typology. Germany has a low power distance score with a strong middle class. German people are relatively individualistic. They stress achievement and individual rights. Germany has a low context culture, meaning that they rely on explicit communications similar to the United States. Christianity is the predominant religion in Germany, with Islam, Judaism, and Buddhism following behind. Germans like rich, hearty cuisine and especially like to consume beer. Germany has made large contributions to classical music, with Bach, Mozart, and Beethoven coming from the country. Germans are also known for their precision and engineering, especially in the auto industry. Germany was chosen as the target country for Ford because it has the largest economy in Europe and the largest consumer market in the European Union. Germany also has a relatively free market with little government regulation, and a strong relationship already exists between the United States government and the German government. Germany is already well known for automobile design and production, which gives Ford opportunities and threats in the country because German consumers are accustomed to high quality automobiles but also higher prices due to the high quality of companies such as Mercedes-Benz. Successful market entrants in Germany have innovative, high-quality, modern products, and Ford matches this well with Bluetooth and wireless capability, enhanced safety features, and modern design that will match these criteria.
Germany's reputable infrastructure is recognized in many studies, and their infrastructure was ranked #1 for its logistics proficiency. And their trade and transportation infrastructure received high rankings along with their quality of roads and air transport, railroads and port infrastructure, and their information infrastructure.
The auto industry is changing. Consumers are becoming more educated about their choices and aware of environmental impacts they are having. It's also changing with technology improvements and increased automation of driving. Ford's goal is to stay ahead of consumer changes and to continue innovating its vehicles. Ford is very excited and optimistic where the next few years will lead them. Ford has always tried to be a top leader. They have held within the last 2 spots tied with Toyota within the United States over the last few years. Globally, Ford has many competitors. The top competitors against Ford are many you'll recognize, such as Toyota, BMW, Tesla, and Honda. With a global market cap, they still rank within the top 10. Looking at the global view of the market share of the automotive industry, you will see a little bit of change with the addition of a few other industry players. Ford does still have a very high top spot in comparison. They are just behind Toyota, Volkswagen, Ford, and followed closely by Honda. A current SWOT analysis of Ford shows where they're at right now. The strength includes strong brand image, global supply chain, and effective innovation process. Opportunities are global expansion through market penetration, growth through production development, cost reduction through strategic supply chain management, expansion of better emission standards, and focus on integrity. Weaknesses: limited global scope of production network, higher costs compared to competitors, and slow innovation process. Threats: aggressive competitive rivalry, new entrants of high-tech firms, fluctuating oil prices, and vertical competition and collusion, such as from German automakers. So why Germany? Ford is already a very strong competitor in Germany. Increasing their market share in the country should be very achievable if focused and campaigned properly over the next few years. The Germany economy is the 5th largest economy in the world in terms of PPP. They're also the leading exporters of machineries, vehicles, chemicals, and household equipment. Germany has over 82 million people in it as of the 2018 count. This also makes Germany the 17th largest, most populous country in the world. The target market is changing. New regulations in Germany are cracking down on diesel vehicles, and the population has slowly been declining. Analysts do expect a drop of 10% in the population over the next 50 years. So, does Ford really want to continue to expand there? Yes, we do. For one, the income is growing in Germany. Germans are becoming more interested in eco-friendly and technology-advanced vehicles. Ford has been focused with Europe on goodwill campaigns, and Europe takes great pride in helping others, and Ford has taken notice and increased these types of campaigns, showing things such as soup kitchen, feeding others, using your vehicles less often, and things such as Ford Pass parking app.
Germany's R&D infrastructure is also among the best in the world. The country's high level of proficiency in technological performance allows for the development of new technologies in an ever-changing and developing world, which places them at the forefront of innovation.
Germany's current chancellor, Angela Merkel, was re-elected to a 4th term in September of 2017. Merkel has been the subject of significant criticism from both her adversaries and her own political party, who had its worst general election result in 2017 since 1949. The auto industry, which is the backbone of Germany's export economy, yields considerable influence over the political and regulatory environment of Germany. For many decades, being affiliated with the auto industry was a source of national pride. Merkel's recent political struggles relate to several issues within the auto industry.
Risks associated with doing business in Germany are comparatively low, but policymakers must grapple with significant numbers of threats to economic and political stability. The key domestic political risk relates to a dramatic spike in immigration that occurred in 2015. All main political parties and groups support the institutional setting and basic political structures of Germany. Consequently, political differences are settled strictly within the constitutional framework by democratic and nonviolent means. German law provides excellent conditions for foreign companies. The legal certainty and proactive structuring guarantees a stable base for the avoidance of future disputes. Overall, the German market offers investors and companies a very effective legal system. Its decision-making process stays competent and predictable and is based on efficient laws of procedure. In Germany, the German tax system is comprised of two basic tax categories: direct and indirect taxes. Direct taxes occur where the taxable entity also bears the tax burden. Such taxes include income taxes, corporation, and trade taxes. For indirect taxes, the tax debtor transfers the burden to a third party.
Diesel cars are highly popular in Germany due to state subsidies that usually make diesel fuel prices significantly cheaper than gas. Majority of Germans are now in favor of banning diesel cars that don't meet modern emission standards. Globally, safety emissions, fuel economy, and other regulations have become more stringent. Germany's future of innovation dominance is in peril as it is projected to fail to meet CO2 emission standards by 2020.
The entry strategy chosen for Ford in Germany is a wholly owned subsidiary. Ford entered Germany as a wholly owned subsidiary in 1925, and Ford's Cologne plant is currently a very large plant with over 21,000 employees. The infrastructure and supplier network in Germany will allow Ford to be successful in the country. The marketing objective for Ford in Germany is to increase market share by more than 1% in 3 years. Ford currently has a 7.2% market share, putting the company fifth in terms of German automakers. If Ford can accomplish its marketing objective, it could have an opportunity to be in the top 3 for auto companies in Germany.
German and US cultures are quite close, which enables us to use more standardization in our marketing campaign. However, for adaptation, German consumers expect advertisements to have a greater use of information and details. A lack of details gives the perception of appearing trivial, simple-minded, or deceptively reticent. Germans essentially want to get right to the point. The term "made in Germany" is key to our country's business and is trusted by 70% of Germans. The "Made in Germany" slogan is regarded as a seal of high quality and is most associated with high quality and security standards worldwide. Our marketing campaign must convey to German consumers that Ford has adopted the same high quality standards utilized by German auto manufacturers. Our pricing is dependent on the model class. Vehicles that have more differentiation and are in high demand would benefit from a skimming pricing strategy. For example, the Ford Mustang would benefit from such a strategy as it outsold the Porsche 911, the Cayman, the Boxster, and the Audi TT. Vehicles that have many competitors and little differentiation would benefit from a penetration strategy. Cars such as the Ford Focus and the Ford Fiesta would benefit from such a strategy for more price-conscious consumers.
While adopting an entry strategy of operating as a wholly owned subsidiary, Ford will control all aspects of operations, including distribution. Manufacturing vehicles in Germany will allow Ford to reduce transportation costs of its products sold in Germany and surrounding countries. Ford will be able to take advantage of Germany's exceptional trade and transportation infrastructure, as well as their advanced quality of roads, air transport, railroads, and ports in the distribution of its products. A report from 2017 showed that Ford was the #1 automobile brand to which German drivers were loyal to. The results showed that 73.5% of current Ford customers returned to purchase another Ford vehicle. However, this report did not include premium brands such as Mercedes and BMW. Mercedes customers are found to be the most loyal in the premium brand sector, with 84% of Mercedes owners returning to purchase another Mercedes vehicle. Ford's communication objective in Germany will be to increase brand loyalty by 11% in 5 years. This 11% increase would place Ford's brand loyalty slightly above the current brand loyalty of Mercedes.
2017 auto industry marketing reached $4 billion in Germany. Ford's 2017 German market shares were 7.7% with $7.3 billion in revenue. Ford's new 2018 advertising budget will be $308 million, which equals 7.7% of auto ad dollars spent and 4.4% of Ford's total revenue. Our budget towards this new ad campaign seeks to equate marginal cost of marketing expenditures to marginal revenues based on this historical data. The promotion mix will include a combination of advertising, public relations, personal selling, sales promotion, and event marketing. Half of the budget, or $51.3 million, will go towards the heavily competitive $1.1 billion German advertising industry. Ford would mount a cohesive campaign of integrity, performance, and green technology, or Integrität, Leistung, Umweltfreundlich. Its public relations division will incorporate its emission standards goal in its corporate responsibility policy. A new sponsorship will focus on the widely popular German motorsport and Formula One industry, with the target sponsorship of drivers who will endorse Ford's Leistung, or performance. Germany's GDP per capita was $45,551.51 in 2016, which is 361% of the world's average. In 2016, the average new car price was $39,577. 2012 data suggests that the average German household applies 14.2% of their monthly budget on transportation.
Ford's advertising budget allocated to the media mix is $51.3 million. This budget will be split across several different mediums to effectively convey Ford's message to the German consumer. 20% of the budget will be devoted to trade shows occurring in various German cities. Automotive trade shows occur roughly once a month because of Germany's heavy investment in the automotive sector, so an analysis of the demographic of each show will be necessary to determine the best allocation of resources to produce the desired results. A majority, 30% of the media mix budget will be devoted to cultural events accompanied by social media campaigns, such as music festivals, where Ford will not only be a sponsor but also a physical presence in the form of a booth or tent. Corporate has already dedicated a heavy presence to Lollapalooza Berlin, where Ford will be a sponsor and a Ford Focus will be given away to the crowd. The goal of addressing music festivals as an advertising medium is to appeal to single young adults across Germany. Concurrently, Ford will be focusing online advertising to promote these events, prominently displaying Ford as a corporate sponsor. The remaining 50% of the budget will be devoted to more traditional forms of advertising. $5.13 million will be dedicated to print media with focus on magazines such as Computerwoche and Kölner Stadtanzeiger. These two examples point to the mix of consumers Ford is expecting to reach, the former being a technology magazine reaching young single adults, while the latter is a news magazine read by the young adults with families across Germany. Though television advertising accounts for 25% of the budget, roughly $12.83 million, its presence in the mix will be somewhat muted as this form of communication is rather expensive. A focus will be placed on both news channels in Germany, such as Radio Bremen, who despite the name also produces German news television, and more entertainment-based channels such as those provided by Sky Deutschland. Lastly, 15% of the media mix budget will be spent on billboard advertising, focusing on both the famous German Autobahn and more urban-centric billboards as well. These mediums will be utilized to espouse Ford's approach to green cars and their new line of hybrid vehicles. Because of the target demographics of our campaign, both single and married young adults, a hybrid design to the message was required to reach both groups. With many young adults wishing to follow traditional German values, but also being pulled to more independent and individualistic views, a two-pronged message was necessary. To appeal to the traditional values of German culture, an old saying was captured, Glück und Glas, wie leicht bricht das, luck and glass break easily, and to bring in the individualism of many German young adults, the phrase Traum nicht was added, which means dreams don't. The complete message, Glück und Glas, wie leicht bricht das, Traum nicht, luck and glass break easily, dreams don't, appeals to both groups and plays on their desire to fulfill their dreams. By slightly changing an old German saying, we have effectively already gained recognition in many Germans' thoughts as we can utilize cognitive space previously held by the old saying with our new marketing campaign. This will grant us greater recall in many German consumers' minds, along with the broad appeal of an old proverb.
Here are some of our ad samples. This ad sample is for the Ford Kuga. The Kuga is a compact sport utility vehicle. Its purpose is to focus on the reliability of our vehicles as well as the leisure and pleasure one gets from driving. The Ford Mustang, speed and power unparalleled.